All right, we are live and here for our little discussion this time. Hope that anyone that got to see the short review of the Ardbeg Blaaack Black hopefully enjoyed that. I gave it a quick one. Sadly, we all make mistakes, and I forgot to give a score at the end, but it's a solid 4.25 out of 5. And I'm thinking even I probably should have gave it a 4.5. I mean, that's how good it really is. Definitely more complex than I thought, it would be in the beginning. But no buyer's remorse at all, and hopefully this bottle will last a while. If I keep pouring pours like this, it's gonna be it's gonna be iffy how long it lasts. That's if I like something, if I give it a good pour like that, basically. We're not going to warm up with that though. For the warm up, I thought, you know what? Hey, Jason, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. What are you sipping, by the way? Just curious. I'm going to warm up with something definitely not on the high end by any means, but not too easy to find, surprisingly, at least in the United States. This is the Bonnehavensstruider, which is kind of like a fill-in, I believe they did, because I think they were running low in their 12. This is when they were changing, I think, the bottling, the cans. They used to be like a gold, what do you call it, a bordered top box type of thing. And then they looks like they decided to go with more of the tins that I have on the right side, which I thought they always use those, but I guess they cut it off after this 12 and 18 box I've got. So after that, they did the tins, and this one doesn't even come in a tin or a box, or they didn't. I think they neglected to send it when I ordered it, unfortunately. And I noticed more and more, especially if you do order your salsa, you have to be extremely specific on the cans or the boxes if you collect them like I do. Thankfully, most places, especially the high-end ones, will fold the box for you and ship it to you directly with the bottle like secured in some styrofoam or some sort of protection. But they also have the box nicely folded up, where when you get the box, you just refold it up the way it's supposed to be, and then you can either put your scotch in the box if you want, but I usually just keep it separate in front of the bottle, and that way I've got my box that's hopefully not too messed up. Sometimes it's a challenge to keep them that way, and also have the bottle on the side as well. The only bad thing to collecting the boxes and the cans and the bottles is it takes up more space, but typically if you keep them on the shelf, it's not that big of a deal on the real estate. Hey, Stephen, I'm really glad you're able to make it. Hopefully your people in Nashville are doing all right. We're going to drink a few drams for them tonight, that's for sure. I heard about the crazy tornadoes they had, and it looked like it was east, like downtown Nashville, which is really crazy. A lot of damage and a lot of people displaced. And sadly, I hate to say it, but this coronavirus has been such a fever storm of media that they didn't give a lot of coverage to the people in Nashville, which I thought was really sad. But if it's not gold and shiny, unfortunately, people don't usually get drawn to it as much as a big, so-called pandemic scare type of thing. But either way, hopefully the people in Nashville are able to recover extremely quick. These are our people, and hopefully they've got enough local community support with people like Steven, getting out there and doing what they can. Hopefully there's enough people locally to help out. I'm gonna have to reach out on the side and see if I can maybe even do something to help things along. Oh, nothing tonight. Usually drink on Tuesdays. Oh, don't drink on Tuesdays. That's okay. I usually don't drink on Mondays, but when I got my hands on this bottle, I had to make an exception. The funny thing was, when I got it, I did the short review, and I thought, well, I'll do a live, right afterward. But I neglected to think that people usually don't drink probably on Mondays. I usually don't, and usually I'm busy. I'm dead tired after work, and the last thing I want to do is mess with it. But and on Wednesdays I usually telework, so it gives me like a little bit of an extra, give. And as far as staying up a little later than I usually do, but when I got my hands on this, I thought, you know what? There aren't any American reviews of it. I might as well get it out there at least, and get my untainted take on the goods. And I think I did a pretty good deal with it. I'll be very surprised if this is not highly regarded in most aspects, as far as like your peat and wine cask connoisseurs. I think will appreciate it. It's not the peatiest whiskey in the world. It's definitely on the smokier end, but it definitely, I think, is a good marriage of florals, smoke, and a lot of fruit. But anyway, back to the starter. Wow, a lot of people. Juan Quintilla, good to Quintanilla. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Good to see you, man. It's going pretty well. And East Nashville, yeah, 4 blocks from Ground Zero in Nashville. That's crazy, man. Thankfully, in that neighborhood's a tight knit group. It sounds like crazy destruction in the Nashville area. I fortunately missed. Oh, his mom, George Kaplan. Good to see you, man. I didn't know you're from. Are you from Nashville as well? It sounds like at least your family is. Mine's from Louisville. Still there. My mom and my dad lives in rural Kentucky, but in Breckenridge County. But you get the idea of it. And Jason's like, glad missed you at least, speaking as a native Kansian. Yeah, I know how it goes with tornadoes. Yeah, when I used to live out in Oklahoma, we had like 8 in one day, and I thought that was just insane. But to them, it was like every summer we get the handfuls of tornadoes on a daily basis. I'm like, you guys are crazy. You live out here, but every place has got its issues, except Maryland, thankfully. Tennessee usually doesn't have tornadoes. That's what's weird about it. Kentucky, especially. Like, I remember there was one in '74 that was really bad before I was born. I always heard about it, but that was the year before I was born in '75. But didn't never really saw one for 20 years, so I didn't really think much of them until I was out in Oklahoma. Anyway, Story of Dare. Yeah, this one is a little tougher to find. They changed the 12, like I said, the marketing a little bit. I think during that time when I negated to go back to was I think they were getting low on their 12 make, and this was kind of like a way for them to keep producing whiskey, but not as much on their 12-year end, because they had younger stuff ready to go, but they couldn't put a 12 on it, so they figured, well, we can release it as a non-age statement like all these other guys do. Like Deanston's got their Virgin Oak, and Glengarry's got their Founders Reserved, and everyone's got their usually everybody. I shouldn't say everybody, but everybody typically has a NAS that they use, I think, to get out some of their new make when they're running low on their higher stuff. The funny thing about this black is I could smell the peat from this distance. As soon as I poured it, it's just like pow, popping. But I should have thought about that before I was going to look at this one. But this one's not too complex. It is probably more of an 8 to 10-year-old whiskey, I'm assuming. But it's not a bad one. Story of Dare is very well priced. The price point's usually $35, I think, to $40 max. Before shipping, though, so definitely if you're going to pick one up, pick it up with like a bundle of a lot of different whiskeys, if you know what I mean. Like, this is like perfect. Like, if you want to get a couple bottles, you want to get like a high-end bottle that might be 100, 200 and up, but you also want to get a couple bottles. And since you're paying for shipping, you don't want to just get one. You want to get at least 2 or 3. This is a good one, I think, to pop in there. And we'll talk a little bit about it. It's not peated like most Bunnahavens are not. Some of them are. Krugvona is, the Kalbanach was, Choichik, I believe. But most of the regular, and this is considered part of their core, I think, for now at least. But it's not very well, not highly seen in the U.S. that I know of. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's like part of the core only in Europe. But I had to get it actually overseas to even get my hands on it. I never saw it locally, and I actually have a place that does do a lot of Bunnahabhains, even in 25, but they didn't carry this. So there goes the salsa trade for you. But it does have a little bit of some sulfuric tones to it. Not as near as much as a Benevis or like a Glenturret or some of the ones that I remember being ultra sulfury, like the Bowmore 15 Darkest, that kind of thing. But it does have some. Ironically, it's like the first. It's part of the first note. It's like met with some fruit on the side as well. And I'm talking like your highly, mostly the peaches, mangoes, papaya, that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's some spice in there too, some white pepper, a little bit of clove maybe. It's definitely on the lighter end. I do think they do color this. If I had to take a guess, nope, they do not color it. Natural color and unfiltered. So I give them definitely a lot of praise for that. So I'm sorry, but not having to even think about that. But that's a nice color for, I mean, it's like a gold color. It's not a bad color for just a straight up, pre-12 whiskey, I'd say. Anybody else have the story there before? I'm just curious if anyone else has tried it, what you thought of it. It's a really good warm-up whiskey if you don't want to start off with something, that has a lot of sherry or a lot of peat or a lot of anything in it. This one's got a little bit of everything. It touches the spice kick, it touches the fruit kick, it touches a little bit of sulfur. It's not peated, so it's not going to obliterate anything, and it doesn't have a ton of sherry either. And I have been blown out by like some Macallan Glendronach, like the sherry bombs, Abelauer. Sometimes if you hit one of those and try to come back to like a Dalwhinnie or something, it's really difficult to manage that. So I try to stay away from both the high peat and the high sherry spectrum until towards the end of the night. That's just the way I roll. But drink whatever you want, whatever order you want. But I'm just trying to help you with your voyage if you're not haven't gone there yet. Not gonna lie, I was worried about the whiskey collection on my second floor. Oh man, Steven says they have a lot of them. I'm surprised. With it being as mountainous as I guess you're talking about about West Tennessee, because the East Tennessee, I just don't see how they would really have any terrain for it because it's all mountainous. That's the Tennessee I know because I'm from Kentucky and more of the Appalachian that area. Hey DHS, good to see you, man. Always peat, then sherry. Yeah, if you want to save your drink, yeah, that's true. I definitely, if you're going really hardcore, I don't know. It depends. I guess to me, like if you're talking Octomore peat or if you're talking Kalila peat. I mean, that's a huge difference too. Likewise with the sherry, if you're talking like Abelauer sherry versus Glendulin sherry, it's like night and day difference. Oh man, always good to see you, DHS. I'm glad that you made it. I'll drink Octomore before serious sherry bomb. Really? Okay. I'm not going to argue with that because I have had both, and they are both quite powerful. I stay away from both until the end. And I've done it. You can't taste those after monsters. Yeah, that's true. I remember having a Macallan. I forgot which one it was, man, but it might have been the classic cut or the addition to one of those really spicy sherry. It might have been. I know that the Tandu Debilia Dram is extremely spicy and heavy sherry forward. It might have been that one. That might be the one I'm thinking about, but there are some out there that are really intense that will even blow peat out. I have not gotten a hold of that Octomore 10.4 yet, but I remember you saying that was like the best thing. My place does have a couple of them, so I might have to pick one up. My last two were the 6.1 and the 7.3. I haven't had one since. I think after like some tastings, I might have had like an 8 at a tasting or a 9 or so, but Nothing that stood out. The 7.2 is probably my favorite I've ever had personally, because I love that French Syrah cask they used for the 7.2. I can't get it out of my mind. It was up there classy, like with the Ardbeg Blaaack Arts, kind of that type of caliber of a dram. It was damn good. Um, I love a bottle of any of the Octomores. I need to get more for a collection. And I'll be talking about Brook here in a second. You'll be shocked at the 10.4's color for a 3-year-old, and it's bourbon dark. Wow. Okay, I'll have to take a, I mean, for a 3-year. Wow, it's only a 3-year-old? That's surprising. Um, hmm. I thought all the Octomores differed with age. Just like some of them I think are 5 years old, some of them are 3, some of them are 7, and maybe even up to 10. I'm not sure if that's true or not. DHS, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's really a good. I think it's definitely more interesting than a Highland typically. Even though this is Isla, like I said, it's not peated, but it's definitely more complex than a lot of the Highland-esque lighter scotches, and that's why I like this. If I'm just putting my foot in the door, I don't want to get it, slammed off with anything assertive. Mm. And it has a slight bit, dare I say, a slight bit of smoke in there. But it's not. I don't think it's peated. If it is peated, it's got to be extremely, extremely light. We're talking 3 to 5 ppm, if anything. I don't remember it being a peated whiskey. Let me make doubly sure. I don't like making mistakes. So, and it's hard to memorize. As you can see, I try to get around a bit, spread the knowledge. So it's really difficult to memorize every single thing that we go through on these, even if you're just doing, mostly Isla and Campbelltown and Speyside, and well, I try to cover them all, really. This one doesn't really even have a lot of information on it that I can see. Interesting. Let me see if I can get a little bit more. I've got a couple of friends that do some reviews on the side, and sometimes I'll get lucky and they might have found some extra information. Now, this is a non-peated. I was right. I think what I'm getting is the barley that they use is got some smoky qualities to it. It doesn't have like a Springbank funk, but it definitely has some sort of sulfuric tinge, I guess is the word for it. So if Springbank has funk, Bunnahabhain has tinge. Just enough to make it interesting. A lot of honey in this one. It's got some nice savory qualities to it. With the honey, there's a lot of like deep, rich, like caramel toffee notes too. And some fruit. The toffee and the butterscotch and the caramel, that is like definitely the most prevalent. Excuse me, but the spicy, fruity aspects are there, but they're way in the back. But I'm definitely happy with the purchase for sure. For 35, bucks, you really can't be, even at being an AS, at least it's not colored, it's not chill filtered, it's from a great distillery. And ABV, I forgot to talk about the ABV, and that's 46.3. So you're not at 40, you're not at 43, you're not even at 46, you're at 46.3. So that's enough right there also, I think, to give it some bonus marks. So you get, if you're looking at Aquavita's ABCD categories, he's checking off the ABV is good, it's not colored, and it's not chill filtered. There's 3 out of the 4 right there for 35 bucks. I don't think you can really easily beat that with a lot of whiskey. So there you go. Catching up here, what size cask is the 10.4 Asian? Oh, probably smaller. Yeah. Oh, hey, good to see you, Rabbit. Yeah, we're looking after I kill this little extra sip here. We'll be going more into the black. And if you haven't already, check out the little short video I did yesterday with just the overall notes with neat and with a little couple drops of water. But I would advise not drinking this with the water unless you, for some reason, don't really like the smoke or the floral aspects of it. And that's what you're paying for with Ardbeg. You're getting the complexity with smoke and peat, and that's what you should expect getting a bottle, no matter what it is. I mean, unless it's the Blazda or something that's supposed to be not peated, or the old school Kildalton from like 1980. But unless you're doing that, you're in for a peat sweet dream, basically. And that's exactly what they delivered, I think, with this one. But yeah, I think I'm surprised none of you guys have had this through there before from Bunnahabhain. They're kind of tied over for the 12. If you're used to getting the 12 and you can't find it, this might be the closest thing. This is not like the 12 though. I do like the 12 better, but it's not like a home run better. It's like the difference between the 12 I would give like 3.5 out of 5, and this one I would give 3.25 out of 5. It's like it's better than average, but it's not going to like blow your socks off. But for the price point that it is elevated, so it might deserve a 3.5 as well, just because of the crazy value that you get out of it, minus all these crazy tariffs that we'll talk about in a second. Hey, Lost Cause, good to see you, man. Black I can't. That's a tongue twister. Black glass up. He's going all juvenile on his. I think that was the guy that did that song, wasn't he? It was like a '90s hip hop song, if I remember. I remember it was like one of those Sir Mix-a-Lot like big hits for like a month, and then you never heard of the guy again afterward. On the Hunt for the Black, yeah. It's I'll tell you where I got mine, and they had 6 of them. Is the Total Wine and Spirits in Laurel, Maryland, had this one. Not sure if you can get them to ship anything out. I do know they're on Wine Searcher, so I think they do ship maybe to certain states, but which states they are in, it has been a day. These things sometimes sell like hotcakes. You never know who's going to have one. Eric Waite was a good source. I remember the dummies, I think, the 4 dummies got, I think, their taste or bottle or whatever. I think through Eric I think he had some sort of lead like I did with the drum last year. Because I remember I'm usually pretty good about getting the Ardbeg Committee releases pretty quick. As soon as they pop, in even in Europe, I usually can get them like a day or two later if I play my cards right. The funny thing is, I was all in the hunt for this puppy 3 weeks ago. I knew it was coming. I called all the ABC Virginia stores, and I was like, "When are you gonna get it? When's the trucks come in? Can you hold me one?" and all that. And they never want to hold anything for anybody, of course. So and that goes for a lot of these stores nowadays. I guess Ardbeg tells them not to hold anything. But after playing with Virginia for like a couple weeks straight, I thought, maybe someone else has got it before Virginia. Just because they usually get it first doesn't mean this year it's going to be the same. And sure enough, Maryland got it before Virginia this time. And the 2, maybe even 3 times before, the Kelpie, the Drum, the Dark Cove, or the 3 I remember previously, those were all Virginia first and then Maryland. So you never know when you're going to. I can't afford all 6 THS. I can't go like this like some of you guys can, man. Some of you guys just make it rain. But no, I work hard for the money. I'm a Pointer sister, man. Oh man, it's too early to get all crazy already. Just hoping you can find the Redbreast 27-year cast strength when it shows up for wow, only $400. More power to you, man. I can only spring that kind of stuff once like a year, even if that. And last time I did that wasn't even that much. It was more of a 300-ish. And that was that Ardbeg 19 Travant I haven't even opened yet. So that's going to be for a special show of some sort. if I can talk one of these hoodlums into coming to Maryland, doing a local show, that'd be cool. Maybe Aquaman. He's talked about coming up at some point, but he works so damn much. I don't know if I can get him out. And with this virus going on, I don't think anyone's going anywhere. I'm self-quarantining in my Scotch cave for a while. Oh my! I'm trying to get one of the. Oh, Steven wants one as well. Paid €1, but had shipping issues. Oh, for Europe, yeah. They probably didn't want to pay the tariff or the tax or something to get it out. Maybe some of these guys are trying to save the Americans from the cost, so they're trying to talk people locally into paying. Maybe that's what it is. You never know, man. 21 is 46%, 350 in Ohio. 27 is cast strength of 400. Wow, that's wild. I'm surprised at the difference, but the cast strength is what gets you. I'm surprised that though for 21 to 27 that it's only a $50 difference, because typically a 21 to a 27 and the fact that the 127 is cast strength, that should be $500, $550 maybe. I'm just going by what I've seen the whiskey industry usually do is go up exponentially from the 350-46 to the other one, but wow, this is what they're doing. Yeah, 400 sounds like an outstanding deal. I'm surprised that they wouldn't catch that, but maybe there's since the tariffs are going on, maybe they're giving them a break with the cast strength ABV tax. I mean, someone's eating this somewhere. I hope it's not us, but probably is. I know I paid a little bit too much probably for the last 2 or 3 bottles because of this tariff stuff, but what are you going to do until it blows over? Supposedly, I think February 13th was the day, so 3 months would be May, I think, March, April, May. So May 13th, I'm hoping we'll hear some good news on the tariffs. Oh, they think it's 46%. Wow. Well, there you go. Well, you better double check, because sometimes these guys make mistakes or they have like different versions of something. Make sure it isn't 46%, and you thinking that it's cast strength, and then you get something and you're like, what the hell is supposed to be cast strength, but it actually was 46%. You definitely don't want to make that mistake, because your differences change. I know, like, there's some bottles for Glenmorangie that you get in the US that are 46, and you go overseas they're 43. Same with Glendronach, I think, for some that are 40 here. No, I'm sorry, 43 here and 40 overseas. You never know with some of this stuff, but it's the first time they're releasing 27. Okay. Yeah, 40 is below retail. So it sounds like, unless there's some new development that they don't know what they have, take advantage while you can. Because it doesn't happen too often. And the only reason I don't like, gouging businesses, but on one hand, the other hand, they usually get the high end of the stick every time. With us, we get screwed. So this is one of those rare times you can actually get a little bit of money back with all the deals you probably made with that store or some other ones for quite a while, I imagine. They sold doing the 25 years back for 300. Wow. That does sound cheap. What does it usually go for? Been having 25. I don't even know. I think they have it here. Let's see. Been having 25. 600. Wow, man. That's a hell of a deal. $600 for freaking 25. It kills me. The state of Ohio sells all the whiskey, so it's the state. Oh, yeah, you pay taxes already. I know that's a bitch. Yeah, the amount is, it kills me to even think about it. I'm a modern day outlaw drinking online, smuggling liquor, running from the man. That would make a great movie, like kind of like the Highlander or Highwayman, but like a Scotch version. They should bring Ron Burgundy back and do something like that. I think doesn't he have like a podcast or something now? I like the movies. I watched a couple of them, and I'm surprised I don't think they did a third one. But I think he was doing some sort of podcast. Let me know if that's the case or not. Okay, we've warmed up. That's a good whiskey though. Definitely not too much one way or another. Wakes your palate up. It has a little nice caramel, butterscotchy sweet finish, and it's medium. It's medium length. Can't get that usually out of a $35 whiskey as well. So there you go. With that, have a little Iska on the side. Gotta cleanse the palate with something, right? I do have some chips down here. Probably have something. Gonna crack my bottle of Glen Scotia Victoriana. Nice choice, man. Someone recently did a review of that. I forgot who it was. I can't remember if it was a distiller person or a video person, but they really enjoyed it as much as I did. I've got a bottle of that right over there, and I remember it being more complex than I was even thinking it was going to be. Do I like it more than the 15 though? I think I like it. I'm not sure if it as much, and if I do, it's for different reasons. It definitely, I think, is more complex than the 15. That's saying something. I remember the ABV being really, really nice on that too. Tell me what you think when you pop it open, Rabbit, if you don't mind. On some of the notes that you're getting off of it. It's been a while. I'll have to pop mine open to see if you get any of them. I don't think I did that one in the distiller though. I do remember having. I sent that out as a bonus to some people. We were trading salsa, and I remember that was a bonus sample of some sort. Sorry to get in front of you. You know how it goes. I scratched myself and I don't even know how. That's really sad. 51.5. Yeah, that's a really nice ABV. Well, that was the 15.2 Whiskey of the Year in 2019. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. The out of all 15s, it's definitely top 3 that I can remember. And at the price point, I think you can still get it for $65 for a 15-year-old. That's unheard of, especially with something as good as that it is. And it's definitely a go-to. That bottle's empty, so put it that way. I need to get another one at some point, but yeah, gotta go into the goodness here. That smoke and that cherry compote together is just a great nose. Huh. I'm getting from last night and versus tonight. I'm getting a little more campfire, which is actually kind of good. More of the even more of the smoke, I think, than I was yesterday, which is a good sign, I guess. With a little oxidation, it gets a little. It's like a real fire. It gets a little more smoky. Huh. I do prefer it neat, definitely, compared to with the water, because I'm not. Some people are really big, or they have to have the wood bite. They have to have a little more spicy kick to it, and for folks like it's funny, Aquaman, Mr. Lee, he doesn't like putting water on it, but I think he would enjoy this even more if you put a drop of water on it, because he would get that oaky, woody bite out of it that he wants to get sometimes. Same with, trying to think who else likes that woody, the oakiness. I think Scott from Scotch Test Dummies probably gets into that more, so I can't remember. It's been a while. That's where I remember hearing the oakiness qualities of a whiskey a lot. Was off their some of their reviews. You definitely don't get anything wood. It's all fruit and florals and smoke on the nose. It's so funny how that is. I just love the fruity, the balance with the smoke and the florals. And typically, I'm not a floral fan. I don't really like that in a whiskey very much, especially if it's a Highland really flat, like a Glenkinchie 12. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. I do appreciate the Dalwhinnie 15 a lot more when it comes to those kind of whiskeys, or like an Auchentoshan. But this is definitely like on steroids, which this is what I like about Ardbeg. Everything they do is like Spinal Tap. It's on 11. Batch variation. Oh, okay. Seen a few different ABVs, huh? Let me see if mine is. I'm just curious if mine is the same as his or not. Just out of curiosity. 51.5 is what I got on this guy. So yeah, 51.5. Yeah, we had the same, I think version at least. I didn't know it was that old of a whiskey. I thought that it's been like a newer release, but maybe it's been out for a while. Sorry about the noise. The chips were being tossed over. You talking about the 15 Glen Scotia there, Jason? Yeah, it's that's a classic, man. Anybody had any luck finding the Ardbeg Blaaack by chance? I know it's tough, but it's got to be out there. I mean, if Total Wine and Spirits, which is a pretty big organization, if they have it in Maryland, I'm sure it's got to be out there for some of you guys on the side. I would definitely check the state-run people get it first. That's the crazy part. Like the Maryland, like my favorite store, they'll probably, if they even get it, they'll probably get it last. But it seems like all the ABC stores for Virginia, or the big ones like Bevmo, Total Wine, Fine Wine and Spirits in Pennsylvania, all those kind of stores, it seems like they get it first before anybody else does. The good thing about the mom and pop stores, if they get them first, is they will usually go to the people that get a lot of stuff from them, like myself, and say, hey, we got a special whiskey coming. Are you interested in it? And give you like, first dibs, which I think they should. If you're, spending $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 every, so often, and you're a big revenue for them, then why not throw a little extra early warning towards your way and hold a bottle for you? That's the least they can do. Nose is fantastic. Rich, dark fruit and raisin. Reminds me a bit of the Bunnahabhain 18. It's funny that you mentioned that. That's a really good comparison, actually. Now I think of it, I might not think it might. To me, it might not be as thick. I'm not sure if that's the right word for it. Viscosity, mouthful might not be as heavy as the Bunnahabhain 18. Might be because of the age, or the refinement, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, taste profile wise, you can't get really any closer than that connection. I think that's a really good one, because it does have the same properties that I remember getting out of the Bunnahabhain 18 too. That's funny you mentioned that. Didn't even think to compare those two, but that is a good one. Maybe just not as old, maybe a little more sprightly, a little more effervescent on the Victoriana possibly, but it's hard to tell if it's age related, because we don't know all the stuff that they put in there. It could be like a that's a tough one. About to taste it, I'll let you know. I'll let the biggest stores do anything for me. Instead, they just keep taking my cash. That's sad, man. That's what's great about the smaller stores to me, is that you have easier, you have an easier way to develop a relationship. I mean, and that to me is important, not just for you as far as, getting some early scoop on something, but they give you news. Like my store will tell me about the independent bottlers that are closing, that, hey, you might want to take a look at these bottles if you're at all interested in any of these because they're, once they're gone forever. We're not ever going to be able to get them back. That kind of thing. Whiskey tasting. Sometimes they tell me like when, it doesn't happen very often. And they're about a half hour away, so they're not like they're close or anything. But Glendronach has stopped by. Ardbeg has stopped by. It's more of a once a year kind of thing usually if it's something big enough for me to want to go. But it does happen, and that's kind of a nice. If you get in on a regular basis with them, then that's the least they could do is give you more of a heads up on the deal. Oh yeah, not as rich and viscous as the Benedictine is a nice youthful spike kick as it develops. Yeah, that makes sense. I think if I remember, like the Bunnahabhain 18 had more of the caramel, butterscotchy, truffle almost like notes. And the Victoriana was big on the spice and it had like lots of pepper, even like ginger and some other interesting like citrus lemon and some other like really well balanced stuff to make it all blend together. Like even though it had the ginger, it was like candied ginger with some lemon and some white pepper and it all blended really well together on the profile on the palate. But yeah, like and the 18's got that too. It's funny. They're very similar with the overall look at them. I'll have to. It's awesome that you've got both of them to compare them to. Lucky. Have no 18 left and no Victoriana left. Damn it. Small stores use point systems, which are great, but rarely do I get anything cool Scotch wise. Yeah, and that's another thing that they do for me. They give me like a $10 or $5 at least. I think it might be $10 credit or every after every $100 or 50 or whatever it is. They have some sort of system where you get some of it back. They have like red dot specials where they have like 10 to 20% off of certain ones, probably the ones that they haven't been able to sell for quite a while. And if you're lucky, it's something that is pretty good. So much high-end Scotch just sits on the shelves, easy to acquire than bourbon. Yeah, it's really sad that but the only reason it's available is it's so damn expensive. Less competition in this market. Everybody's bourbon crazy. Yeah. Well, smaller stores don't carry much Scotch. Well, this isn't a small store per se. It's a large mom and pop stores. I wish there were larger mom and pop stores out there. I'm not talking like the hole in a wall, I've got one that's literally like I could walk to it from my house. It's so close. But they're never going to carry anything more than like Lefroy's core, They have the triple wood, they have a 10 and maybe a 10's cast strength. They have a select. And they might have the quarter cask. I don't even think they would carry the lore regularly. They'll carry that, but other than that, they don't really have anything. But the mom and pop stores that like the big ones are the ones that I'm talking about, the higher end ones. Now those are the ones I wish that were like everywhere. Because I only know of one in Maryland. That's why I drive a half hour to get to the damn thing. Because there is a more of a niche, higher end liquor store in this media area, but they don't even have the selection that this mom and pop store does in Ellicott City, which is north of me. So there you go. No competition for Scotch and Nashville bourbon. On the other hand, yeah, that's the funny thing. If you're out in Kentucky and Tennessee, I'm sure it's like tough to find good Scotch, easy to find different bourbons, but yet the competition to get it there is so high that you might as well live in California and get it, because Californians probably have the easiest time to get whiskey. I'm not sure why it is. I don't know if it's the Japanese market, but even with a lot of Scotch, it seems like I get a lot of it from California. And they'll have stuff that sits there for a while too, like the rare stuff. Like that's where I got my Carriages Amontillado 2015. Let's see. No, that's 2016. 2016? I get the 2013 was the port. So 2014, that's the one. 2014 Amontillado. They had a bottle out there in California, and I got lucky to snag that. But um, you can't find that kind of stuff sitting around out here usually, unless you get really, really lucky. Yeah, EU is a solid option when it comes to getting stuff. Thank goodness it's still an option. But man, the prices. Mom and pop chain here combined, they have a decent bit of scotch, but you get what's per store. So buying at one store doesn't do anything at the other. Yeah, yeah. When they have a chain, I don't even consider that a mom and pop thing anymore. If you're already competing with yourself, then that's still kind of some of the largest importers are based in California, and they end up shipping it back to us east. Isn't that strange? It's like, why can't we have those importers in the East Coast? We drink whiskey too, for God's sakes. Next interesting bottles coming in are the Black, Redbreast 27, and some single malts of independent bottlers. And with 23 Ben Nevis and 20-something Mortlock. That sounds outstanding. A 23 Ben Nevis, man, I can only imagine how good that would be, because the 10 distillery version was kick-ass. And I've heard great stories about their independent bottlings. I haven't had a lot of exposure. They do have a 15 distillery version. I have seen, I should probably give it a try before I could do the independent bottlers, but I have to see. Odds are those importers do ship their whiskey also to the Pacific Rim areas. Yeah. Yes, anything Ben Nevis from Jason. Yeah. It's I love that sulfuric twang that it's got. I'm not sure why, how. They must have took notes from Springbank or something, because those guys do it well. I like that type of funk when it comes to the whiskey. That brings me to a question. Has anyone else took the dive, I should say, and tried that inaugural release from Aventurg that a lot of you already know that I completely could not drink? It was that bad. I'm wondering, because it did have a funkiness to it, but it was not a nice funky. It wasn't like, Springbank Glengyle. It wasn't, Ben Nevis or Glentoran or any of those, or Macallan, even sulfuric notes. It was like sweaty gym short socks, kind of nasty. Oh, it was horrible. First off, how would a whiskey get that bad? And I'm not talking quart tank, because I've had quart tainted whiskey before, and even that is a lot more enjoyable than this was. It wasn't even close to being something that I don't know, but hopefully, I know they have I think they finally released that first inaugural was a 3-year. I think they released a 5. Haven't tried it because I'd be really nervous to try anything from them, because I did hate it that much that first time. But I would, if someone told me that they tried one and enjoyed it, then I would give it a go. But until I hear otherwise, I will never touch an Aventurg whiskey ever again. Has anyone else had any other stuff? And if you had, did you like it or hate it? I'm just curious. Anything aged in sherry casks? Yeah, it's something about the maybe, I guess maybe it's the kind of sherry that they use for their casks, possibly. Do they always use like a particular type of sherry, like Fino versus Oloroso versus PX versus Amontillado? I think Marsala is a type, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that wine? I get them mixed up with the wine cast sometimes. But the Amontillado, Fino, PX, Oloroso. I'm sure I'm missing a couple other ones possibly, but do they use the same type, or do they kind of tap into different ones, or do you guys know on the Ben Nevis stuff? 98 is a good year for Ben Nevis. Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind if I ever see a labeled 1998 Ben Nevis bottle. I'm trying to think. 22 years? Is that right? Man, that'd be something. Have a dozen. Wow. Tricky to find. 98's good for sure. 96 too. Okay. Hmm. Wonder if any of you guys do any of you guys like the Alexander Murray bottles? And if you have or do you recommend trying maybe a Benevis from them, or would you stick with like a Signatory, Caden's Head, Blackadder, that kind of thing? El Defi, Old Particular, those kind. Just finish the work. Let's drink. Sounds good to me, man. Uh, well, it sounds like no one else, unfortunately, was able to snag a bottle of this so far. I'm really surprised, but with that said, hopefully you guys can find it. 140 is steep. I mean, I'm used to 110, 120 for the committee edition bottles. I'm not sure if the 140 is from a tariff or if it's just that the MSRP has risen in the last couple of years. I'm pretty sure the drum was 120 before tax. So with this being 140, I'm like, yeah, but it is worth. I think it is worth it for the taste. It's such a good dram that I might even dare say it's 150 to 160 as far as worth goes. I don't think I would go as high as 200 unless we're talking like, of course, aftermarket, I've seen bottles trying to be sold for $450, $500 already, which I think is crazy. But I'm sure in a year or two, then it'll be a normal thing. Like, if you try to go find an old Dark Cove committee release, we're talking $450, $500 easy. But hopefully you can get it for a lot cheaper. Because if you like cordial, like chocolate cherry, if you don't mind the florals, if you don't mind the sweetness, man, it's one of the best ones I've had in a long, long, long time. There must be some really, maybe the price is raised because I think there is some really old stuff in here. I do think they do have some young, real sprightly, effervescent, like 5, 6-year-old stuff with a peat. But man, those New Zealand Pinot Noir casks are dynamite when it comes to what happens after the peat smoke. To get that cherry Jubilee cream, to get that profile and have that campfire marriage there and make it work. I'm really surprised at how good it ends up being. I think I might have to mark this up to a 4.5. It's insane. I'll try anything, any Benevis from Benevis. Yeah, definitely have to agree with that. I mean, Blackadder, the everything. I'm in for 6 at 6 foot 140. You get 6. Jesus, man, that's a. I wish I had some of the cash you guys throw around. That's crazy. I'd stay away from Murray McDavid. I've heard the name, but I don't think I've ever had one of their bottles. If that's an independent bottling that you're referring to, and I think you are. Ardbeg prices have been skyrocketing here. I'm expecting 160. Time for to bottle kill the Kalila Stitchel Reserve. Oh, I'm so envious. I've heard about that bottle for years. I've never seen it. I should probably take the plunge and try to get one overseas or something. I'm sure I'm gonna have to probably pay out the ass to get my hands on it at this point. What does that run right now, DHS? I still thankfully have a couple sips left of my unpeated Kalila 17 back there. I'll have to get out for a rainy day. You got 2 bottles. Damn. Oh, and speaking of, unfortunately, I did talk to Petit about the Highland Park 25 cast strength, and it was gone. After I got one, they had one left, and that's the one I remember seeing that, and I thought, well, they might have a couple other ones stashed away, but they must have went pretty quickly afterward, and this has been a while. It's been like a couple of years ago since I had it, unfortunately. So I'm not terribly surprised. And with exclusive malts being sold to a Japanese market. I doubt we'll see that one again. But it was good. I mean, it wasn't like to die for or anything. I mean, yeah, it was a 4 out of 5, star whiskey. But with the Highland Park 25 being readily available, and with the options of the light and the dark, and some other things that they have, I think Highland Park's definitely got enough out there, enough interesting whiskey to make it, not be such a big deal. But I'll keep my eye out and see if they do have another one for you, because that's one that you should definitely get a try if you haven't already. 2 for $2.35. 235 divided by 2. I'm not a math major, but that sounds like a good price, like 110, 115, something like that. That's a hell of a good deal. I wish I could find it for that. I'm sure it's probably more now. It's probably like 2 or 3 each. Steven says I've had good 2 great Ben Nevis from Single Cask Nations and Torrey Cadenhead, Thomas Brothers, Single Malt Scotland Whiskey Agency. Man, you've named some I haven't even heard of before. It's funny because, like, I knew about the Single Cask Nations, Single Torrey Cadenheads, but Thompson Brothers, Single Malts of Scotland, I might have. Whiskey Agency, I don't think, and I definitely haven't heard of the Trotland in the archives. You've had a lot of Ben Nevis, I can tell, man. Wow. And any of HP is pretty rare to see. Last one shows, yeah, 235 for 2. Ship that one as well. I got that deal last week. Okay, well, maybe I'll get lucky and find another one. Even had a great Ben Nevis from Single, a South African IB. Wow. Do you remember it being bad or good, Stephen? Just out of curiosity, that's quite a specific independent bottling market there. Hopefully, it was a good one. I don't think have you ever had a bad Ben Nevis? I'm just curious. Dark Cove Committee Release 500 in LA in stock. I wish there, Richard, man. I wish. I've had the taste. I have not had my own bottle of that. I do have the regular one back here of the Dark Cove, but not the committee. My first committee that I found on my own was right after that was released, and that was the Kelpie. And then I got the Drum, and then I had this one. I think I'm missing one, though. What was before the Kelpie? Was it Dark Cove? Oh, the Grooves. I had the Grooves one, too. So I was able to get the Grooves, the Kelpie, the Grooves, the Drum, and this, but I have not got my hands on my own bottle of the Dark Cove Committee. But I've had it multiple times, thankfully, in samples and at different places. Every time it's so damn good. It's one of the best whiskeys I think I've ever had. Oh, fantastic. I haven't had that you didn't like. Wow. Yeah, I'll have to, I know, I remember watching what was it, the Scotch? 4 Dummies, I think, got a bottle of the Nevis from Hoagie. Hoagie's an old school guy that's been around for a while on the whiskey tube scene. Hoagie Bear from Germany. He sent them some weird, crazy, really aggressive, assertive version. I forgot what the year statement was on it. It was an independent bottling, and it was ultra funky. Like, I wish I had a chance to try it, because maybe they were just talking about the typical sulfuric, tinge that you get off of the Nevis, but they acted like it was like the craziest thing they've ever tasted. And I don't know if it's just because it was something wrong, or if it was a bad cask, or if it was cork taint, or what the hell was going on. But they acted like it was just horribly bad. But I remember Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies got a sample, and he liked it. So maybe it was just them. It is weird. Yeah, they can be weird. Do you like the black more than 2019 Supernova? Well, sadly, when I got my Supernova, it was the original Stellar release. It was the 2009. And I still have some left. I've been kind of like like relishing. Like I was going to bring it to have with you guys out in Tennessee if you were able to make it. I even saved a lot for you off the Stellar release, but I haven't had the new one yet. The only one I've ever had is the first, the Stellar 2009 version. They had it released in the 2012, 2015. They might even had a couple other versions, but the new one I haven't tried. It's so pricey typically that once I have one version of 1 year, unless there's a huge batch variation, I usually don't go there again unless there's a really good reason to. But I'll send you a couple samples later this week. Yeah, I would adore to try it. That's for sure. I could definitely. I'll sit down and compare it to the first Supernova too, and see the differences there. I would love to see the differences between the first Supernova and the more recent. I mean, it's been 10 years. Crazy in a weird way. It's like been that long since it was first released, so it probably has changed a bit. Richard Blanca, it's good to see you too, Richard. I don't know if you've been in the channel before. I don't recognize your name per se. It does look vaguely familiar, so I think you have been to a show before. But thanks for stopping by again. Seeing Hazelburn 18 cast strength 55 for 2275, 216 release breakout, the tax return. Yeah, a Hazelburn 18 at cast strength at 275 would be definitely worth it, I would think, if it's a good taste. Now, the only Hazelburn I didn't like was the 9-year Barolo cask. I was not real big on that one, but we're talking 18 years at cask strength. That's a whole different scenario. So I'm thinking that you won't get burned on that one. You didn't get this year's Supernova. Yeah, I had to shell out a lot to get the Supernova Stellar, which was the 2009. The Blazda was also there, and the 2009 version of the Ugadal. I got all 3 bottles at one time because this guy had all 3, and I'm like, I can't pass this up. I mean, he was only asking for a few $100, but at the same time, it's like, to me that's a lot of money, so I had to let it stretch out. I just couldn't jump in on the Supernova with all this other stuff that's coming out. It's hard to keep up, and I'm a one man band, so I wish I had a whiskey more of a club. I've thought about starting one locally just to get more exposure to more higher end stuff. Because if I throw 100 in, and I got 2 or 3 other people to throw something in, we could start with the 5, 6, 7, $100 range stuff. So that would be kind of a nice option to have. Maybe we'll have to see. The new one is very good. It's a very good younger one, better than the 2014 and 2015. Oh wow, okay. It has more of the Ardbeg distillate character. That's cool. I always love it when they get better with newer stuff than the older stuff. Facebook meme, some people aren't shaking hands because of the coronavirus. I'm not shaking hands because everyone is on toilet paper. Yeah. And ex-bourbon Hazelburn 11-year barrel was shockingly good. But it's up for a while, just hanging the weeds off and on. That's cool, man. I appreciate it. Definitely don't be a stranger and pop in anytime you feel like it. I like my system. Go over to Mike Whiskey's Review House, and he provides the 20 high-end bottles. There you go. That's not a bad system to have, man. But yeah, it does help when you have someone else to bounce, even ideas off of, not just the monetary factor of it, but monetarily it does help a lot. That's why the Scotch test dummies and the Scotch 4 dummies especially, man, they have it made when it comes to access to bottles. If I had 3 other people to work with, oh my God, it would be insane what kind of stuff I'd be getting my hands into. Mike's the follow Talisker cast strength fan. The only cast strength that I've had from Talisker is that old particular one that Bobby Parnell. I'm not sure if he's been around the channel for a while. I haven't seen him in a while, but he definitely had a really good one. It was only an 8-year, but it was really tasty. I remember wishing I had a bottle of that. And I know they did that's one bottle I actually missed completely, was when Talisker released their own cast strength. I think it was an 8-year, even distillery bottle. I missed that damn one too, and I heard it was really good. Hopefully, I can still find a straggler out there. Probably not by this point. This has been a couple of years since I think that was released, but you never know. I might get lucky and find one. Excuse me. That's one distillery I got to get back into is Talisker. I've had lots of good stuff from them over the years, and I've had a few. 10, 18, the Storm, Stiller's Edition, the Dark Storm, that old particular 8 cast strength. I remember the Port Ree, which is a travel retail exclusive. That's the only one that didn't really do it completely for me. I love the nose and the taste. The finish was just really, really either absent or dry. Was short for me, so I kind of didn't go hardcore. I did like the 57 Degrees North. I did get that one. Excuse me. And I do remember that one being pretty good. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that they've released. The Niche Point, I think that one I've had too. That was a good one. So I have had I guess I have had a bunch. I'm sure I'm missing some though. I'll have to try to delve into some of their harder to find things. I need my own bottle of Dark Storm. That would be outstanding. I need my own bottle of the only ones I've got personally are the 10, 18, and Distiller's Edition. So the other ones I've all had were all either samples or whatever at tastings, etc. So I'll have to try it again. Looks like I see your old Buna's up on top. Came across a store that has a bunch of dusters, black and gold box ones, left at $129. Going to grab it Friday. Good idea. Yeah, I was just talking about the gold rimmed old school ones up there. They all went to the cans after I got my 12 and 18, which probably were sitting there for a while. Thankfully, a lot of people have no idea what Bunnahabhain is, so it's more for us. Sadly, all the good ones like Lagavulin and now even Laphroaig and Ardbeg are getting more popular. It's harder to find some of their stuff for a reasonable price, but thankfully the Bunnahabhains, the Glen are still typically easier to find and not for a reasonable amount of money. Rabbit Maltmuser, I should say. Talisker is a distillery I've never really taken to. Don't love the 10, Storm or Dark Storm. And I've been spending some time with the 18. I'll say that the DE is amazing, though. Interesting. I think the Distiller's Edition is the probably a little higher ABV. Maybe that's why you take that and get into that one a little more. I'm surprised that you don't love the 10 or the Dark Storm, but it's not a very complex whiskey. I'll give you that. The 18 is definitely, I think, a high caliber for the people that only really gravitate more complex notes. It's definitely when it comes to florals and the malt barley aspect of it. I think the 18 definitely is that. But the DE, what makes that stand out to me from what I remember is, yes, it's a punch in the face. I think it was a higher ABV, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, but the yeah, it's 82 nearby. I'm not sure what year though. 2013 for 87 sounds like a good deal though. That's an older one, so yeah, I'll have to look and see what the dates are locally. There's a store that has it for 82 nearby, and I think they have some dusty bottles. I'll have to take a look and see if I can identify the year. Is there a special trick? Like I know in Ardbeg's, if you get a light, you shine it down on the bottom, right? Especially on old bottles, they give you the date timestamp on them here. This one's November 28th of 2019, particularly on this black bottle. So there you go. I missed last clause. I love the sherry on the distiller's edition. That might be what it is. Is it does have a really nice. It kind of reminds me of the Lagavulin distiller's edition. That sherry, it is tasty. The 15. I didn't know there was a 15 cask strength. Huh. 130 shipped. Well, definitely send me an email if you don't mind, where I can snag that, because I would jump all over a distillery version of the Talisker 15 cask strength. That's for sure. Yeah, send the email to me if you don't mind, because yeah, only secondary and auction though for the older ones. Picked up a red tube of Bunnahabhain 12, juicy, mouthwatering, going to get better with air. Yeah, I love the 12, especially for the $55 price point. Usually could find it at. It's a solid. I mean, this one is good, but if I do have the option of getting the 12, which thankfully I still see it, even in that new tin you're talking about, I would definitely be all over that. But if you can't, this is not a bad option to have, especially if it's cheaper, for a daily dram kind of thing, if you're into that. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, thanks for getting on our radars. That's what I like about this channel, is we definitely aren't opposed to sharing things with each other, because we all enjoy this stuff to the nth degree. the finite, infinite degree, I guess, is the word for it. I don't know. Hey, everyone, good to see you, man. I was hoping, yeah, it's good to see you sometime. It's been a while. Are you guys quarantined? Are you? We have actually Thursday. We have mandatory telework in DC for our agency, so that should be interesting. Thankfully, we're pretty big on the telework thing when we get a chance. I wish that they would save a lot of money and go full-fledged telework on most accounts, unless you come in maybe once a month for a meeting if you have to meet face-to-face about something. But if I have Skype for business and I can do all my business online or over the phone, why in the world do I want to go an hour and a half to get to DC, back and forth, unless I have to? It's just crazy. But that's a whole nother discussion. Good to see you though, everyone. Either way, have you had any chance? They do have this sucker at the Total Wine. I know you're not a big peat guy. You do. I think don't you appreciate smoke like the Ardbeg Ugadal, Everwind? If you do like the Ardbeg Ugadal, I think you would appreciate this. This is maybe not as smoky, pretty close, but it's got more of a floral fruit balance thing going on than with the Ugadal. It's more of a sherry. Definitely more of a sherry cask. This is more of a red wine, Pinot Noir specifically kind of cask. Not sure if you're into wine casks at all, but just curious. Back to Stephen. 15 was a special release by Diageo just 6 months ago. Oh, okay. Well, hell, man, these guys are horrible at getting the word out, because I live and breathe this stuff practically, and I didn't even know. And I've got probably more Diageo bottles than anything else I've got. I should be on their freaking mailing list, and I guess it's my own fault for not signing up for more stuff. Maybe that's the problem. 'Cause I'm the type of guy that likes to block all the junk, so maybe that's my own fault. But I did not know that they had one like that. $60. Wow, I'm sorry, not 60. 46. That's a really good buy, man. That's like ultra cheap, because usually here it's like 55 to 60 on the 12. This is what I'm talking about. Doesn't charge tariffs. Oh, that's music to my ears. Everyone's on the coronavirus task force at NASA. Yeah, we did a drill, but not there yet. I love the Benromic 10. The Iggy was okay. Yeah, I don't know if you would like this as much than if you thought it was just okay, because the Ugadal, man, is to die for. There's something wrong with you. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I don't know if you definitely would. I mean, for the price that you have to pay for this sucker, I don't think you'd be into it. But with that said, if you're ever around Severna Park sometime and you're willing to stop by, I'd love to pour you a little sip and see what you think of it. So definitely let me know. The malt music was disappointed with the drum, yeah, but really liked the grooves. Yeah, this is definitely, I'd say, a step up, big time from the drum. The drum was very basic. It had a nice sweet taste for what it was. It was a decent rum cask whiskey, I guess. With that said, rum and port cask whiskeys are extremely difficult to pull off correctly. I've only had a couple that where justice was done. With this is definitely a major step up from the drum. That one I rated like a 3.25 to 3.5 ish. This one's definitely 4.25 to 4.5. It's like a star forward. Maybe not as good, only because I shouldn't say not as good. I don't prefer the palate of this as much as the Dark Cove Committee Release, only because I like the savory notes out of that one. That one has more steak and meaty factors to it. This one is definitely more in the sweeter, floral, fruity realm. Not as tropical or whatever as the grooves by any means. This is more of a raspberry, strawberry, mixed berry, middle medium fruits with a lot of roses and a lot of like bright flowers, violets, and it's hard to explain, but it probably sounds crazy, but it is pretty good. Wow, I'm getting way behind. Lagavulin 16 is enjoyable, yeah. So that, I think, I don't know. I might have to get you to try this one just to see what you think. Just got home from the Total Wine. Dude was talking about tariffs getting bad, so picked up a mellow corn bottled in bond. $12? What? Or do you mean 120? I'm not familiar with mellow corn bottled in bond. I'm assuming that's a bourbon of some sort. Talisker isn't released in the States. Oh, okay. It's like the 2019 Lagavulin 12, which is, yeah. Isn't that sad? That's another one I need to get my hands on. Did you try the Lagavulin 12, the new version? And I'm not talking about the typical 12 yearly release, that brand new 12. Is it like their usual 12? Like, I get like cotton candy, a lot of really nice, heavily intense peat. It's got a lot of nice fruit and floral aspects to it. Is it like that, or is it completely different than their usual 12? Stephen, I'm just curious because I haven't even tried to look for it yet. And if it's different enough, I would look for it. But if it's not, then I'll probably look for something else, maybe like the Lagavulin 10, even though I heard horror stories about how bad it was. Serious, not joking about the Ugadal. Yeah. I missed what you said about the Ugadal there. Lost. Let me go up a little bit. I don't think. Oh, Balakin does amazing port casts. That's true. Balakin is one of those rare distilleries that can pull it off right. Lefroy can do a nice port cast too, believe it or not. It could be my favorite single malt. Yeah, it's up there with some of my top ones too. Just bought a 2004 Ugadal secondary, waiting for it to come in. Yeah, that's going to be a treat. Wasn't cheap, I bet. Wonder what this 2008 one or 2009 one I have goes for. I think I already finished it though. I'm a big fan of Glen Scotia, yeah, and I got a bottle of Long Roll 11 Pinot and loved it. Wine finishes can be huge hit or misses for me. Thanks for sounds amazing. Yeah, I think you would like it. As far as like find it interesting at least. I don't know if you'd like it, but I guess it depends on the smoke level if it's too much. Thankfully, even though it's there, I think there's so much other things going on that are complex about it, because this is one of the more complex whiskeys I've had. Hopefully there's enough going on to take your mind off of the peat smoke. With that said, Yeah, it's gonna be a stellar pour. I think he's right. Um, have I had the Lagavulin 11? Yes, the Offerman edition, and it was okay. It wasn't bad. Like I've heard the Lagavulin 10 has got issues, and that's a travel retail newer one. I gotta try. I'm not gonna knock it till I try it, but I've heard ifs on the reviews on that. It's definitely not as good as a 16, in my opinion. It's not as refined, and I like the 8. The eight's like a young Pete breakfast dram. You have to be in the mood for it. For me, it's kind of one of those that I might have every once in a while, but I'm not the type that likes to drink a straightforward bourbon cask whiskey nonstop. It's not complex enough for me. I need like a wine type of cask or some sort of sherry cask or some interesting something else going on to make it really um, worth my while, basically. With that said, this one it has the young aspects of it, even though at 11, it's got some bite to it. It's got some interesting woody character, but man, is it woody! It's very spicy. It's a bit intense on the profile. If I'm in the mood for it, I like it though. It's kind of like the 8. It reminds me as far as the mood aspect. It doesn't taste like the 8. It's definitely like more if you took the 8 and the 16 and blended them together almost. Um, I'm thinking that you might get something like the 11 out of it, which is kind of funny because if you take the average, I guess it would be about the same year. But I don't know. It was okay. Talking about the 11, yeah, the 12 is special yearly release, but for some reason they didn't send the 2019 to the States. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. The 20, like I think of the 2016, the 2017, the 2018. So you're saying this is just like the other yearly 12s, is what I'm thinking that you're saying, Stephen. Is the profile different than the typical like um, really intense sweet pea, cotton candy, barley, in your face. Trying to think of the other notes I got out of it. It's been a while. I have to pull them up. But is it the typical 12 yearly, or is it something completely different? Jason says, I've ordered a few times, always something good. Oh, ordered. Oh, okay. Must be talking about where you got that from. I'll look at the email afterward to see. Everyone says he likes peat when it's one flavor on the mini. If it dominates and overwhelms the other flavors, then yeah, it's much more tolerant of peat these days. I think you might enjoy this a lot more than. What about sweet and floral? Do you like sweet floral combination, everyone? With the smoke. Not different than the other yearly 12s. Okay, different packaging though. Yeah, I noticed that they went all out on the marketing of the new 12, which I thought was weird. That I mean, typically they just give you a nice flat green, bottle like their 16 that I'm used to seeing. But and even in the distiller's edition is usually like a flat green. But I guess they're trying to mix it up with with the the bottles. I'm not sure what the box looks like if it matches the floral. They have lots of floral like print things going on in the packaging. I remember seeing on the Lagavulin 12 at least. With that said, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be. I think it's going to go well here. Hopefully, um, even with the price being a little bit higher than normal, even for Ardbegs, which is killing me. Hopefully, it'll still do well in the market, especially in the States. I don't see how they could really knock it. Really, it's not lacking anything, that's for sure. I wouldn't really change it. I'm hoping that when they do release, now what does scare me on this release is when they do when they finally get around to releasing the limited edition. LE for short. This is the CE Committee Release. LE for limited edition. They usually release that at 46%, I think. I would go back there, but I don't feel like it. Let's do a quick look up. I'm fairly certain, going off of memory, that they do the. Let's do the Ardbeg drum, for example. If I could type. Committees are always like in the 50s, but the regular was 46. If I go back to the grooves, was that 46 as well? Probably. Yeah, 46. They're always about 46. Now, what is the 4% difference going to do to this whiskey? Because I prefer this neat at 50. Almost 51, 50.7. With that said, am I going to enjoy this if they're already diluting it or making it not as powerful? I wouldn't change it. I don't think it's overly high. I don't think it's difficult to drink neat. When I add the water to it, to me, it's not as good, and it's not and it takes away a lot of the complexities and the floral and the smoke properties, and it brings up the spice and the pepper and the ginger and the overall bite of it, the woodiness, oakiness. So I don't know. I think I'd rather it stay at this level. So when I do release the 46, I will try it, but it'll be an interesting review to see how different is it, because it doesn't sound like much, but that's a lot of water. Definitely a sweet tooth. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Malt likes the muser likes sweet and floral more in bourbon. Sorry, like Four Roses, OBSQ barrel strength. I need to find one of those for my mom. She's looking for the some really old version of a Four Roses. If anyone ever sees the Sugar Daddy version, I forgot what the letters, if it was OBSQ or whatever the hell the letter combination was. I'm thinking it was OESK or something crazy. But if anyone finds a Sugar Daddy version, let me know, because I would be definitely interested in trying to pick it up for that one for my mom. I was trying to find it in Pennsylvania, and it's a bitch. They never have anything. They're not really good about telling you up front or where it is, where it's going. And the place that I usually get stuff from, they're not a bourbon place. They're more of a Scotch haven. So I'm not really good about finding bourbons, but I like to get that one for her and see if I can get one, because she has asked about that, and I feel bad having all these great whiskeys and not being able to get something that she really actually likes, because she doesn't do the Scotch thing, but she does like that Four Roses. I think there was like a 16-year or 12-year. There were different year versions of it. But I remember that being on her radar, but I just cannot find it. So hopefully one of you guys can, and let me know. I'm a fan of the florals normally, Steven says. Yeah, I don't think you're going to dig this as much. Then I would definitely, if you could get this maybe in hell, I'll try to see if I can get you some salsa myself. I definitely owe you some anyway. But if you are able to get like a sample somehow, I'm surprised that a lot of these places that do get these bottles up front, they'll keep at least one for doing a sample for people, because they do get like cases of these things in there, and a case is like 6 bottles typically. So it's not like they can't buy one for the store, give half of the samples and drink the other half. I mean, that's what I would do if I was an employee at one of these places, as far as trying to talk the management into doing something for the customer for once. The definitely a sweet tooth, yeah. Not so much on wine tannins. Well, there's no tannins or sulfuric properties at all in this. That's what makes it so interesting. Is even though there's a Pinot Noir cask involved, I didn't get any of any bitterness other than like a dark chocolate on the nose. But the palate's all milk chocolate, white chocolate, that kind of thing. It's very sweet. The only savory stuff is the roses and violets going on in the background. I have a sample of the black coming my way already. Man, I can't even get you a damn gift, dude. Well, I'm glad I didn't send it. Oh man, I'll find something. We got to meet up. We're too damn close to not have a little whiskey fest of our own sometime. So if you get a weekend, Steven, and you're just plan out in the future, especially if you have any buddies that are willing to do a little traveling, maybe we can meet halfway in Virginia or West Virginia, or figure out something and have a little whiskey get together. It'd be kind of fun. Everyone bring 2 bottles of either their best stuff or things that they think other people would like, and go at it. And doesn't even have to be anything particular. It doesn't have to be old. Doesn't have to be anything super crazy special. Just something that that could be just a one-off, hard to find thing or something. Jason says, I don't usually love floral, but it works in Glentalkers and a couple others. Yeah. You're a cast strength lover. Yeah, that's true. I do like to have some play. I mean, if it's not 48% at least, I usually just can't get involved. Thankfully, this 46.3 on the Strudi there from Bunnahabhain is actually pretty good. Everyone, you weren't here around for when I was warming up with Strudi there. It's actually, I'll do a review on it on the side. It's actually a really great whiskey for $35-40. It is hard to find in the U.S., unfortunately, but if you can pop it in a order of salsa on the side, it definitely would be, I think, worth the while. Borthia 4 Select has all 10 recipes. 55. Bauer the Four. Boer the Four. I'm not sure what that is. Is that a bourbon thing? Probably, I'm assuming, because I've never heard of that. I'm guessing, though. Oh, it will have to be a special if we have a tasting. There you go, man. I definitely will. I've got a bottle of Lafroig 18 I could bring. I've got a bottle of the Ardbeg 19 I could bring. It's all unopened, too. I've got a bottle of the Lagavulin 18 Fischl I could bring. What else do I have unopened? I've got some other ones. I've got that Clonleash, that Select Reserve from the Game of Thrones. I never opened it yet. That's one thing I gotta get open and review at some point. Oh my, there's other ones too. I'm sure I'm looking across the room back there that I haven't even touched. But yeah, definitely have to. And I can always find something that I'm sure would be a big hit with a couple people at least. I would hope. What's your least favorite, Stephen? Just out of curiosity, we'll have to hang it up here in a second. I gotta do some work in the morning, but before we take off, what's your least favorite? Like, you don't want to see a bottle of it type of. If there's a couple distilleries out there, so at least I know what not to bring. I'm just curious of if you have any that are like definite no-nos. I know you're not big in the florals, at least, so that helps a lot. You're probably definitely not a Highland guy, I take it. I'm guessing you're not big in the Glenkinchie or Dalwhinnie, or let me think, what are the really ultra Highlandy drams? Those are the first 2 that come to mind that I remember being extremely light. Let me see. Highland distilleries. Since I started typing Highland, it thinks I'm looking for Highland Park. It must be a problem I have. Highland distilleries. Let's see. Annox are pretty good. I think you would like the 24. I liked it. I didn't think it was overly floral or anything. How about for Rose's small batch select? Oh, 10 recipes in it. Now this one was a real specific sugar daddy, like a particular hard to find. I mean, it was like $300 or $400 bottle. I remember that it was a real tough one to get. I think the yeah. Sorry, a lot of comments just came in once. Oh yeah, but if I could find that one for her, that would be awesome. But yeah, the Enoch, I think you would like. I'm not a big Eberfeldy fan. You're probably not big in the Eberfeldy, if I had to take a guess, Steven. Um, but Nevis is a Highland, surprisingly. They're definitely a little more assertive than typical Highland. A lot of these are not very light. I'm looking for the lighter ones. Glencadam, I guess, would be on the lighter end. Um, Glenord. I like the Noctu, so I wouldn't throw them under the bus. Loch Lomond's kind of I'm not a huge fan. Oban. I do like that black one, that the Night's Watch deal. That was a pretty good version. Royal Bracla, maybe, like Royal Nagar. Tolerberdeen. That's my guess. Tomatin. Those are my guesses you probably wouldn't be a big fan of. But let's see what he says here. Let me get back up here. Am I going to start back to grading distilleries? Maybe at some point. I tackled all the ones that I knew. I felt like I knew a lot about, and I was getting ready to start into the hammering of certain ones, and I was kind of like juggling with do I really want to go down this route of, I don't want to say bashing, but pulling apart all the weird aspects of some of these lower, I don't want to say lower end distilleries, not as well known distilleries, definitely. But I could build some up, but there's not. I mean, even though I like Noctu, for example, or Nakando, I think is the one I'm thinking about. Nakandu. I can't remember which one it was, but well, they only have like a 12 and a 15. It's not like they have a big range like some of these other distilleries have. When you get to the Taninic, for example, they have a 10, which is their flora and fauna, and they have a 17. They don't really have anything else to really take a hard look at. So it gets tougher when you get to the. I mean, I could tackle like the big boys that are left, like Tomatin and Oban and things like that. Definitely going to get there at some point. So the short answer is maybe not like right away, but the goal is to get there when I have more time to try more things that they offer. What threw me off also is I felt like I was well aware and well attuned of what Ball Blair had to offer and what Old Pulteney had to offer. Well, they're both run by the same what is it? Not InBev, TyBev. They're run by the same, ownership, and they changed everything. I've heard these new Ball Bear bottles are getting horrible reviews, and personally, I've already tried some of the new Old Pulteney stuff, and it wasn't the same caliber as the old 17 and 21. Now, the new 15 I liked, but the new 20 something, 25, and the 21 or whatever it was, 18. I just didn't really get into it as much as some of the other stuff, the classics, I should say. So that's another thing that threw a wrench into it. When I was getting ready to go down the road of looking at these distilleries, I've got to start all over again with some of these guys because they've released new bottlings. So it's like, what do you do, right? But I guess you got to attack it at some point. It's just, I just want to have a better foot in there before I do those type of ratings. Wow, you guys are really getting me behind now. Let me go back here. Here we go. Jura Lost Cause is not a big fan of, and I've heard horror stories about that. I've never tried one other than just the basic 10 a long time ago, and it was just a smoky whiskey, not a lot to it. Um, I was gonna tap into like the 21 or the 18 before and after their new releases that they just did, because they have the 21 is actually selling cheaper than the new 18, and I'm thinking it's got to be because the quality is just so different, or it was that bad or something. There's got to be some reason. Um, so I'm kind of torn. I've got a guy, Bob H, who I met when I was watching the Scotch for Dummies, and I need to get back and watching their channel too. It's been a while since I've been able to do Thursdays and my usual Tuesday for health reasons. I'm trying to cut back on some of the daily drams, if you know what I mean. But he got me a bottle of the Classic Cup, which was really good, and then I got him a bottle of the Tamdu Batch 1 that I still have in my closet unopened. I got for him and KB, since I know they're big fans of that particular release. And he said he's going to hold on to me a Jura 16, the Jura Zone. It's a 16-year version that was supposedly the best of what they had to offer in the last go around. So I might take a look at that at some point, but even everyone's saying that Akantoshan and Jura just basically suck. I haven't tasted anything good from them. Now, speaking of Akantoshan, I must like them for some crazy reason, because I did like the American Oak, I did like the 12, and I did like the 3-wood by them. Not saying they're outstandingly, this level. Like I don't put them up with Ardbeg or anything, but if I'm looking for a nice $50 daily, sipper type of whiskey that's not going to break the bank, their American Oak 12 and 3-wood are actually pretty good, I thought. But that's just, they're on the sweeter end, so it's probably why I like them a lot. Sugar masks a lot of things, so that could be the reason why. I'm just kind of guessing at that though, but haven't had one I disliked as far as the Akantoshan. There was an independent bottling I wasn't really too keen on, but it's been a while since I had that. Mont Muser asks if I had the HD. Have I had the HP single cash releases released regionally in the States? The 12 Rip Tide, Mid-Atlantic. I have not had that. I have heard of that. I didn't know if that was something that they already did, and it looks like they have. So I'll have to take a look at that and see, because I think I've seen that available somewhere. Being a 12-year, it didn't jump out at me where I thought, "Ooh, I gotta," The Twisted Tattoo was the one I saw was 16-year, and recently that was the one I jumped all over, and that's a good dram especially for $99. It's got florals in there. A lot of whiskeys are doing a lot of florals recently. Florals, a lot of fruit, a lot of vanilla, and a lot of brine. Old Pulteney-esque classic kind of brine to it. I really like that Twisted Tattoo 16-year, but I have to try that Riptide one to see. Don't bring no JW Blue. I wouldn't do that to anybody, man. That would be bad. No offense to Johnny Walker, but that's just not my thing. I have the Riptide sample. Oh, I have not tasted it yet. Damn you, everyone. I'll have to get some of your notes on that one. Nice, excited to open it soon. Have 100th review. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a type to definitely do a review on if you can. Sorry, I'm so far behind in the comments. I'm just trying to catch up. Wow, I'm way behind. So sorry. 1 second. I just got completely creamed here. Here we go. All right. Excited to open it soon. There we go. I have a bottle of that one. Oh, it looks like Jason's got it too. Damn, everyone's got it but me. I'll have to try it. Not a huge fan of Abelauer. They do have a lot of tannins, like a lot of red wine-ish tannin type things in their whiskey. It gives me a headache if I have too much of it. But I like the Abana. I do like that one. And the 18. So I can't say I'm not that I'm not a fan. of their stuff. I do like it. Anything in the glass this morning for you? Oh, I think he was skipping tonight. Oh, everyone doesn't like Abelauer either. I'm surprised. Oh, he is a Highland guy. He does like, well, you like all the good Highlands. I'm talking about the Highlands that nobody really gets into. I guess I already know what not to bring. The ones that you listed as your Highlands are the ones I like too. So I guess we're both Highland guys in a weird way. I got a bottle of the Abelauer 16 as a gift. Oh, 40% and color to death. Yeah, that would be disappointing. No, I agree with you there. The only ones I've had are the 18 and the Abana, and those I liked. I can't speak to the 12, 16, 8. I think they have a 14 or 15 even. That is really bad if they're coloring and chill filtering their shit. Wine Searcher, yeah, is where I try to get a lot of good leads if I can. Sorry, I'm getting back here. Yeah, put me off trying Abelauer. Huh. Jason likes the 12. Okay, so I'm not completely on my own when liking Abelauer, at least a little bit. I'll point went to the 20, 40 for the 12. Well, yeah, that is unacceptable. That's bad. Does Petit Cellars have the new Mortlocks? I'm curious about them. They do not, unfortunately, have them yet. Well, actually, no, I take that back. They do have one. I'm pretty sure they have one. Let me. I do have the brand new March list here with me. They only have the 12 though. They have the new 12 at 60. It looks like. Let me see. Is that right? Yeah, they have the new 12 at 60. So that's a possibility to try that. I was tempted too, but I think I'm going to try to shoot for either the 16 or the 20. I know it's more of an investment, but the 12's usually just, unless you get lucky and get like a Bunnahabhain, it's hard to get a great 12-year-old whiskey anymore. It seems like to me. I don't know. But if you do get your hands on them and try it, let me know what you think of it. I'm definitely curious. 18 was just as boring. Lost Cause is not a fan either. Wow. We love it 50%. Yeah. Jura, yeah. No one's into the whole. The Jura 18, yeah. And how much Abelauer? They don't experiment enough to excite me. Yeah. Those Holland Park Cask and single barrels are pretty good. I'll check them out. Yeah. I think I will definitely on the side. Sorry, I'm still catching up here. I got the Riptide on sale. Oh, wow. I'm surprised they would have a sale. It's brand new. Why would you have a sale on a brand new whiskey like that? But maybe just to give it some hype out of the gate. I just love great scotches. Yeah, I do tend to gravitate towards bigger flavors, though. Yeah, me too. And Silver Lock loves the Avanaya. I mean, it's one of my favorite sherry bombs. I'm surprised that some of you guys don't like it. Steph Ridgway of Old Pulteney said chill filter doesn't matter. Well, I hate to say it, but it definitely matters to some people because it's if it didn't, it wouldn't be something that everyone talks about and puts it in their ratings when they're looking at these things. So I know who you're talking about. I met Steph. She's a nice lady. She's with the Tybev people. Does the Old Pulteney, the Ball Blair, the Speyburn, and the Enoch. And I think I might even have another one I'm missing, but that's what their major brands are. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Persons whose job is to chill filter whiskey says chill filtering doesn't matter. There you go. Glen Hellicky, Gold Karen, Deanston 12-year-olds are pretty good. That's true. I mean, but it's I can't agree with you, Jason. I'm sorry. I'm sticking to my guns. That Loch Lomond 12 is like one of the worst whiskeys I've ever had. To me, hopefully I just had a horrible bottle, but I think I tried it twice. I'll have to try it again but not, my goodness, there's a lot of soapy notes on that. The Highland Park 12 isn't bad, but it's not great either. I mean, if you give me the Highland Park 15 or the Highland Park 12, the 15 to me is astronomically better than the 12. The 15 has got the more tropical notes that I like. The fruit's better. It might not have as much of that heathery peat, but it's still there and enough to make it interesting. The 12 is just maybe almost too matchsticky. I don't know. It's okay. It isn't bad. That doesn't mean it's great to me, though. I was hoping you could pick it up. I would reimburse you for your trouble. I'm happy with many 12s and even 10s. I will say the Glentronic 15 is amazing. I need to get my own damn bottle of Revival. They do have it up there. Oh, you're hoping I could pick up the Mortlock, maybe? I might be able to do that. Let's see. If I get a taste. Yeah, I can do that for you next time I'm up there. I'm not sure when I'll get up there because I just shelled out, for this guy. But with that said, it won't be terribly long. I'll definitely pick you up. All I ask is if you don't mind, pour me a little side little thing after you open it up, so I can just see what it's like. I'm just curious. Oh man, the Kalila is making me pretty mellow. I can imagine. What's the ABV on that Stitchell Reserve? I'm sure it's got to be up there, at least above 46, I would think. I love me some HP 12. My favorite. Don't know what I want to pour this tram. Oh, it's okay. It's definitely not a bad one, that's for sure. Yeah. I love that Telex has paper copies of these whiskey prices. Hey, it's easy for me to get to if I don't want to look it up online, and I don't want to open a PDF, and I don't want to worry about all that stuff. It's always right here on the ready. I can get to it in 1 second, and I can if that makes me an old man, then okay, boomer to me. I'm not even a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer, baby. Always happy to share a sample size. That's cool. Yeah, I'll get you something. I'm sure. We'll have to get your ass over to Severna Park soon, hopefully, or my ass down to Mayo, wherever you are. 59.6 on the Stitchell Reserve. Wow, that sounds outstanding. I didn't know it was that high. I thought it was going to be like 48 to 51. Damn. Lock Whiskey Club. Remember 235 for $2. Yeah, that's. I'll definitely. I'm gonna definitely have to get my hands on that. This silver is the Bunnahabhain Strúidir. Strúidir is their way of getting whiskey out to the masses while they run low on their 12. It's about $10 lower than the 12 price-wise. You can get this like 35 to 40. And it's not a bad dram at all. Even for a non-age statement, it's tasty. I warmed up with it tonight. It's got some really nice notes. No, it's not the most complex thing in the world, but there are complexities there, especially for a younger whiskey being 7, 8 years in age. I'm estimating by taste that it's 7 to 8 years. It might have some older stuff in with it, like the 12, because it does have some aspects of the 12 in it, but there are some other things as far as more sulfuric properties, even more sherry, I think, on this one versus the 12 even. But doesn't mean it's, any better sherry or anything like that. But it is a good dram. It's well worth the price point. They could probably charge $55, $60 for it and it would still sell. That's actually how good it actually is. But no, I wouldn't, go into the 70 or 80 price mark on it. But if you're buying salsa overseas and you're getting a few bottles, this is an excellent bottle to fill in the gap where you're getting a few for the shipping, and you're getting your higher end bottle, $100 to $300, and you want to get a couple other ones, maybe not so pricey. It's definitely a good one to throw in, I think, on the side. Oh, that's right. You keep the boat in Mayo. I got you. I keep forgetting. And yeah, McLean is a bit of a distance, but I'd come out to McLean to see you sometime if there's ever an invite. So just let me know. And seeing out here, I know you don't. Your kids probably aren't playing in lacrosse anytime soon, but if you're ever out this way, I missed you that one time. I know you were in the area, but it was awfully early. I think you called it like 9 or 10 in the morning. I don't even get up to 11 or 12. So it might be hard to do it while you're out here already, but maybe we can plan something ahead on a more afternoon, evening venture. Is this hard to get up and drink? Well, I can just get up and drink whiskey at 9 or 10 in the morning, but that'd be a tough one. I could put it on my lucky charms. That would be an interesting taste. Might be good. With that said, guys, I'm gonna have to call it a night. And yeah, Buddehaven 18 is so good. What I like about the 18 that none of the other ones have is like some truffle-esque type qualities to it. Really nice truffle oil on the back end, savory, almost like a mushroom gravy. It's weird, but I think it goes well with the sweetness and all the other properties, even floral properties you get on a Buddehaven 18. Since I last saw you, I got the Glenallachie 12 and the 12PX, and they are wonderful. I'm sure I love the 18 is the only new Glenallachie I got my hands on so far, but it is a good bottle. It's behind me, you can't see it, but I do like that Glenallachie 18 a lot. I'd love to get my hands on a 12PX. I bet that's tasty. Heavy on the malt flavor. I like malt. I love Whoppers. I often drive an hour and have to drink at 11:30 or so. Wow. It's like having whiskey with my Cheerios. Yeah, it is amazing. And I don't have any open right now, but I'll have to get a new Buddehaven 18 at some point. Well, cheers, guys. Sláinte for now, and I'm glad you guys got the chance to stop by. We'll be doing Tuesdays regularly. The only reason I did the short review yesterday for this guy was just to get it out there while it was fresh and hot on the presses, and hopefully get a good, easy way to find it. I'm really hoping for your sake, because it is worth the trip if you can get your hands on it. 13-year-old cask strength. Oh man, that does sound great too. That is a distillery that's got a lot of really good new bottles. I've heard Glenrothis's new stuff is pretty decent as well. I've only had the 2014, I think it is. I'm sorry, 2004. I had a 2004 Glenrothes, one of the newer ones. It was really good, tasty. Their new line is pretty good, but that's another one. Your class act in the Grey House. Oh, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, cheers to the family, and we'll be meeting again soon. And please give it a thumbs up before you go if you have a chance. And any short review that you like, please throw a thumbs up so I know that it's actually getting out there and people are enjoying it. I appreciate it. Sláinte and fair winds for now. Yeah, 91 views of the Black. It's catching on, and hopefully it keeps going. See you for now.